Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm a bit late on this video. I wanted to create this like 2 weeks ago, but you know, I was trying to finish some games, and then Christmas, and then right after Christmas I worked like a week straight, and then I got sick for a week straight, so we're doing it now. Before we get started, I just want to say that this is my personal list, my personal opinion, so everyone's list is going to be slightly different, so don't get all booty hurt if your favorite game's not on the list. It's on your list, and that's what counts, right? But definitely stay tuned, because I got quite a few games that I feel like are not on everybody's list. Real quick, before we get started with our top 10 best games of 2022, I did want to kind of put an honorable mention out there as technically my 11th spot, mainly because my number 10 spot in this game I flip-flopped so many times that depending on the day I really could flip them, and that game is High on Life. It was one of the games I recently just finished. Great game on Xbox. I just wanted to give a big shout out to it just because I kind of was debating putting it on there, but I kind of like this other one better. I don't know, like I said, I flip-flopped so many times that as of this video, this is where it's at. So starting off with number 10 is going to be definitely a controversial one for probably a lot of people. But at number 10, I chose the Callisto Protocol. This was my first game into I guess my first introduction into the Dead Space franchise, or I should say Dead Space style game. I personally had a lot of fun with it. I know a lot of people didn't really like it that much. The combat is a bit like, I guess more the dodge is a bit hard to get into kind of at the beginning, but I don't know, about like an hour or two it kind of clicked for me and it actually wasn't too bad. I don't know, I feel like this game got a lot more hate than I think it deserves. A lot of the people I feel like either are saying that it's too much like Dead Space or it's not enough like Dead Space. And I've never played any of the Dead Space, so maybe when the Dead Space remake comes out I'll understand what they're saying. But this was my first experience into this type of game. I should say the Dead Space style game. Maybe my expectations weren't as crazy as some other people's, but like I said, I actually thought the game was great. Graphics looked great, and I think it's one of the standouts of the year, and that probably is a big controversial for a lot of people. Like I said earlier, I did kind of flip-flop between this one and High on Life, so you know, give or take that. Coming in at my number 9 is also a strange one that I'm sure a lot of people may not have heard of, but is Thymesia. I am a huge From Software fan. Basically anything that they put out I'm just gonna eat up, and there's so many other game companies that try to copy that formula. A lot of Souls-like games out there, and Thymesia is definitely one of those. You could definitely see the Bloodborne inspiration in this game, and actually the game itself was pretty dang fun. I enjoyed it the entire time. It definitely scratches that Bloodborne itch that I've been like searching for. You know, I just want more Bloodborne, more something in that genre, and Thymesia definitely fixes that craving that I've had for it. One mechanic in Thymesia that I thought was pretty cool was this weird like steal mechanic where you can steal other enemies' weapons and basically have like a spectral version of that weapon. Like you could steal someone's axe and now you have like this weird ghost axe, and you can actually use it to deal a lot of damage. And you could even do this with some of the bosses. You could steal whatever their special ability is and use it right back at them. The game was fun, challenging, and out of all the Souls-likes that are out there, this is definitely one that stands out, and I highly recommend it. If you guys are a big Souls fan, big Elden Ring fan, give this game a try. I really enjoyed it. Up next at number 8 we have Modern Warfare 2. The campaign, although was short, was actually pretty enjoyable. I had a good time with it, and I had a ton of fun with the multiplayer, playing with a couple of my buddies from work. We all had a blast with it, and honestly this is the first Call of Duty game that's really pulled me back into the franchise since literally like the 360 era one on like Black Ops 2. Like I just have not been, I've tried, you know, playing, you know, here and there, but I've never actually like fully jumped back in, never actually purchased another Call of Duty since Black Ops 2, so it's been quite a while, and for them to pull me back into the franchise is definitely a plus in my book. The gunplay was great, the graphics were really good, and all around a solid game in my opinion. At number 7 we have Pokemon Arceus, and I know what you're thinking, this might be a big surprise to a lot of people. The game came out super busted, the frame rate was terrible, the graphics were terrible, there was bad pop-in, literally all throughout the game, but the core gameplay was actually really fun. I loved going around and just catching Pokemon and battling these like evil versions of Pokemon. I also liked how like the 3 starters that you could choose from are all kind of mixed from different gens. All the new variants that they have were all really cool. Like the Voltorb variant was cool, the Sneasel variant. All the mounts were a lot of fun. You could ride several different mounts. You got like the Braviary, Ursaluna, quite a few different ones for different traversal. And yeah, I don't know, it was just like I played hours of this game. I totally beat it, and at the end you're just going around just catching legendary Pokemon. Them going this open world route, I finally felt like Pokemon was going in the right direction. That is until Pokemon Violet and Scarlet came out and just took a fat deuce on literally everything. My number 6 spot is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, and that will always be a freaking mouthful to say. This was one of the games I beat recently, and I absolutely love Final Fantasy VII, and getting to play the prequel to that was just awesome. The story was so good here. I loved seeing Sephiroth's basically journey to the dark side. Literally all the summons in this game were freaking epic. Every time I got a summons cutscene, I literally just let it play because they were so cool. That, and on top of it, Zack getting the Buster Sword, that was really cool to see. And to see like how it went from, you know, Angeal to Zack and then eventually Cloud at the very end. All good. Chef's kiss. Loved it. Alright, now we are in my top 5 favorite games of 2022. Yeah, of 2022. I can't freaking talk. So coming in at number 5 is probably another very unexpected one that I'm sure a lot of people haven't put on their list, is Ghostwire Tokyo. I literally feel like this game came out and like nobody played it. I don't remember seeing any like advertising for it like until like the very week that it came out. It was really strange. Like maybe they just didn't have faith in this game, or I don't know if it was the Bethesda Activision deal. Whatever it was, I was disappointed that this game got like no eyes on it kind of thing, and it was really fun. I enjoyed it. The like finger weaving combat was super flashy, super fun. Ripping out people's cores was really satisfying, and I actually really enjoyed the story here. I thought it was really good, and there's some, you know, some heartstring pulls towards the end, and I really loved all of the like Japanese folklore and mythology kind of scattered through in this whole game, like where you're hunting down different like Japanese type, you know, demons from mythology, things like that. All the different foods that they have there. Really loved it. I thought that was really awesome. Shoot, and all the boss fights looked crazy creepy. This wasn't really a horror game, but man, all the boss fights looked really cool. Overall, had an awesome time with Ghostwire Tokyo. Alright, so for my number 4 and number 3 spot, just like number 10, they kind of flip-flop just because depending on the day, I'll swap them. And when I was trying to make this list of what the best games was, I literally flipped these games so many times. So I guess these are interchangeable. But for this video, we're going to put number 4 as Horizon Forbidden West. I think out of literally all the games on this list, even my top games, I think Horizon Forbidden West easily looks the best out of all of these games. The graphics were just so good, and all the detail in this game, they just put so much, you could tell they put so much time into it. This game looked freaking amazing. Forbidden West literally takes everything from Zero Dawn and just cranks it all the way up to 10. Like, no joke. Everything is just better, bigger, better, and overall just the quality of this game is just insane. All the new machine types are also super cool. Then that's just one of my favorite parts of this game, just running around in the open world, taking out these giant mech machines. Like the Mammoth is super cool, and the Cobra, just those are like my new favorite additions. They were so fun to take down. And of course you also have like your Thunder Jaws, those are also insanely fun to take down as well. I also really enjoyed the story for Forbidden West. Although it went in a much crazier path than I even imagined it was going to go. Like when you play Zero Dawn, you kind of have an idea of where this is going to go, and then Forbidden West, you know, you somewhat have an idea where this is going to go, and shoot, like halfway through the game, it just takes a hard right turn, and it just gets way more like sci-fi crazy If you guys haven't played it yet, like, I'm trying not to spoil anything, but the story gets really crazy. Definitely deserving of one of the best games of 2022 for sure. At number 3, we have A Plague's Tale Requiem. Now, like I said, you could kind of switch these two around, but for right now, I think I liked Requiem a little bit better than Forbidden West. One reason why I chose to put it a little bit is that I felt like the story for Plague's Tale just had a lot more weight to it. I cared more about the characters. I cared more about what was happening in this world. Just the story here was just so good in A Plague's Tale Requiem. This game had so many like edge of your seat type moments. Like, that's how good the story was. Surprisingly, I didn't think it was going to be this good, and it was. I was like more emotionally invested in these characters. Like I said earlier, like, I actually cared what happened to all of these characters, and there's some like really big moments that happen throughout the game, especially at the end, and it just really pulls at your heartstrings there. And I feel like it's kind of been a while since I've really got this invested into characters, especially in a game. Like, even other games that are really fun, I just don't really care too much what happens to the characters. But here I was like, oh no, like, don't do that, don't! Like, I just cared so much more about the characters. The massive hordes of rats was just so epic. There's just like I said, just like Forbidden West, Requiem literally takes everything from that first game and just cranks it all the way up to freaking 10. The amount of rats in this game is literally insane. They literally have giant like tsunami waves of rats now. Like, there's so much. That and Hugo losing control of the macula is also freaking nuts. And just like the Forbidden West, this game takes like a much crazier turn than I thought it was going to be. In a good way. I enjoyed it, but wow, it gets crazy. And now we are at my final two, my top two, which I'm sure there's been some unexpected ones here. And coming in at number 2, which is probably not a surprise to a lot of people, but God of War Ragnarok. If I'm being honest, I really don't know what to say about this game that hasn't already been said. This game was just so freaking awesome. There's way more boss fights, way more epic boss fights. The combat is way better than the first one. It was so much fun. I literally spent so much time just running around, just defeating bosses and enemies. The story is so epic here. When Ragnarok finally happens, it's just so freaking epic. The Thor fight, freaking epic. Fighting with Odin is freaking epic. Just everything about this game is just amazing. I freaking love it. Honestly, if you guys have not played this game yet, you are seriously missing out because it is so good. Alright, and now we are finally at our number 1 spot, my personal best game of 2022. Best game of 2022, and I'm sure that this is going to be a surprise to literally everyone, but my favorite game was Gotham Knights. This game was a masterpiece, and it literally is going to change gaming forever.
You serious?
Nah, who am I kidding? It's Elden Ring. Come on, guys. Did you really think I was going to say Gotham Knights? Elden Ring was so good. It's not only the best game that I played of 2022, but I think it's the best game I've played in a long time. It was so good. It took everything From Software did throughout the years. It literally took everything that they've learned throughout the last, 10, 15 years that they've been making games and just perfected it here. It was so good. And honestly, them going open world was a bit of a made me nervous a little bit, just because it was so different than what they're normally doing, which is they're very linear games. But surprisingly, this was they totally nailed it. Like, it's literally my favorite open world game, right next to Zelda Breath of the Wild. It is so good. That, and I feel like it's super rare that we get games that are very hyped up that actually live up to that hype. There's so many games that come out where we're like, oh, this is gonna be great, and they come out and they're just big piles of crap. 2022 came and went, but Elden Ring is going to be one of those games that people are going to continue to play for years and years, and going to be talking about it for years and years, even after, From Software comes out with their next big title. And yeah, I think Elden Ring is a friggin' masterpiece. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite From Software game. I literally have a soft spot for Bloodborne. I freaking love Bloodborne. Anyways, that's my list for the best games of 2022. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought. What is your favorite game of 2022? Go ahead and throw your list down there. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.
Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless.